creator, you've got to understand all of these things. You've got to understand your environment that you're entering. You've got to then have the right mindset. As an agency owner, there's always a risk. Like, we try our hardest to put in systems in place.
Read the reviews, because the reviews will literally give you the information as to what products people like, what they don't like about those products.
This is the Energetic Leader, led by a team of 3 who have influenced people at the highest level of corporate, athletic, entrepreneur, and the business world. We teach through science and data-driven methods to help you lead through energy and influence. We don't just use our stories, but the stories of those who have walked the walk, been in your shoes, and ultimately excelled. Whether it's leading a team of 10 or 10,000, building a business of 1 million or 100 million, winning 1 championship or 10, they all have one thing in common: energetic leadership. So with that, step inside and let's help transform you into that energetic leader.
Welcome back to another week of the Coaches Council. And guys, it's so often that we sit here and try to navigate this space of, hey, I want to network with the right amount of people, or I want to get new funding for my business, or I want to initiate some level of leveling up in what I do from a marketing standpoint. And I have the privilege of having a platform that I can go out and ask some of the best people in the game to provide knowledge. And lo and behold, you guys have that same platform too. You just need to take action on something and do it. And so today I'm so proud to introduce, again, somebody that I met through social media, which happens a lot these days, but Samit Patel. And he has done such amazing work when it comes to crowdfunding and product launching, and has really become an expert in the field. And you know, from a past conversations we've had, you don't become an expert in the field just simply by saying, oh, I want to be an expert, and then say you're an expert and sit and do it. It takes research, it takes time, it takes a passion and experience in going in and doing it. And that's what Samit has done. And he has done so well. And he is across multitude of platforms. And he's continually bringing value and showing people how to do this on a regular basis, and is now a globally recognized speaker. And he would be traveling a lot more if it wasn't for COVID, but we are so thankful to have locked him down for the next 30 minutes here to really drop some knowledge on you guys and give you some tangible information and takeaways as to how to level up in your business, level up on the crowdfunding, level up on just simply marketing your products and you yourself, so you can take everything and your gift to that next level as well. So Samit, thank you so much for joining us today, and really excited to dive in here.
Yeah, great to be here. Thank you for inviting me on. And, I'm excited to be on this podcast and, just listening to the amazing things that you do. So thank you for having me on board.
Absolutely, Samit. So Samit, why don't you just kind of dive in a little bit here, and how does one get into the crowdfunding marketing space? What has your journey been like? What was the first initial catalyst that really drove you here?
Yeah, so it really started in 2015, and it was really by accident, to be honest. At that point, I had given up on becoming an entrepreneur. I'd given up on running my business because I was, in 2009, I graduated university, and it was the biggest financial crisis, right? And I had run successful businesses beforehand in the nightclub space. So I was running lots of different nightclubs to pay for university, and I was making something like $1,000 a week as a I think in America it's called college student, right? But in UK it's called university. So I was doing that, and then 2009 I graduated, was like the financial crisis. So you don't really want to be earning £5-10 an hour when you were earning $1,000 a week, right? So my mentality was like that. So I ended up going into lots of different businesses. A lot of unsuccessful businesses, might I add. I was involved in the travel industry. I was involved in SEO, PPC. I was involved in a hair salon. I was involved in lots of different types of businesses. So you sort of name it, and I was involved in doing that type of business. But from 2009 to 2015, I failed every single one miserably. And it took like a freak accident to happen to my brother, which he survived through, for me to literally go, okay, where am I going? I'm a 28-year-old that has zero money to my name. All my friends meet me up weekly. I've lost contact with all of these guys because I just had to make up some lame excuses why I couldn't go and have a beer with them, because I had no money, right? So like, I was 28 years old, I was broke, I had no money, I was embarrassment to my family being an Indian boy. And 28, after that freak accident to my brother, I literally had to change everything that I was doing. And I said, you know what? I'm going to give up the entrepreneur lifestyle. I'm going to give up having this dream of running my own businesses. And I'm just going to go back to working, or, I'm going to try doing a normal job. So I ended up, I was really interested in startups at this point, and I applied for like one little position, which was around a modular smartwatch. So a modular smartwatch, the concept is you can build out your watch like Lego. So rather than having to keep buying a new smartwatch, say for example, they come out with a better screen, you would just you take out that screen and you'd swipe in a better screen. So rather than keep having to upgrade every element of the hardware, you just swap in and out. And that was the campaign where I was involved in first, to build up a community. So I looked at the best way to launch this product to the market. We started building up a community of people that were interested in it. We used different advertising channels to drive people to it. We did something that was called growth hacking, which was, using the combination of technology, automation, to really grow metrics really fast. So the metric that we were trying to grow was email leads. And that campaign ended up doing really, really well. We did 250,000 in 56 minutes. We had done 500,000 by the end of 12 hours. And by the end of the 30-day campaign, we had done 1.6 million. So that was really like my first, like, wow, an amazing campaign. But it wasn't the start of my crowdfunding agency. My crowdfunding agency literally happened afterwards, because, first time you do a successful campaign, people are okay, whatever, there's a lot of people behind here. The second time around, I did a campaign which was for a skiing boot. And this skiing boot was using AI technology, and it would teach people how to ski. These guys had no website, they had no social media presence. All they had was a ski insole. So they were very tech heavy. They were geeks almost, but they didn't really know too much about marketing. And I helped them raise, so that before we did that campaign, the maximum a skiing product raised was around 20,000. We went in and raised over 300,000. And that literally added a whole new benchmark to that industry. And, the creators weren't expecting much. So after I did that, I had literally 10 people that were like, hey, we want to work with you. So I said, all right, cool. If you want to work with me, all of you pay me X amount and we'll start working with you. And that's exactly what happened. So, and that's what created the agency. And fast forward to where we are now, we've helped do over 43 million A to Z. So A to Z means a product comes to us and says, hey, we've created this fantastic water bottle. We want to launch this water bottle to the market. So we would do a validation test to see whether that water bottle is special enough, or it's got some, it's got a USP that really resonates with the people. Then
sorry, Samit, yeah. What does that mean? What does a validation mean?
Yeah, so we've created something, based on the number of projects that we've done, we've been able to create a system where we're able to test whether something would work or not. So a simplified version of it is, creating a landing page for the product, driving traffic to that landing page, seeing who is signing up. So that's a very simplified version of that test. But what we added was a deposit scheme into there, and we're also tracking the different call to action buttons. So if anyone can imagine a landing page, we would have a call to action at the very top. You'd have a call to action maybe somewhere along the middle, and then you'd have a call to action at the very bottom. Those people that get to the very bottom are a better qualified lead because they're able to look through the information and then they're able to decide. The person who comes at the top of the funnel and is signing up, they're necessarily not a good quality lead because they're just looking at the top and not really looking through the rest. The second part of that is once they sign up, they go onto the thank you page. On the thank you page, they have two options. They have an option to place a $7 deposit to really lock in the best price for this product. And they also have the other option, which is to join our VIP group on Facebook. The VIP group on Facebook is really like a focus group. These big brands, they pay millions to create focus groups. But with this, you're able to create a focus group of people that A, like your product, and B, that open to, getting involved in the design process and making this product even better. So you could actually ask these people, okay, what do you think about the color? What do you think about the product? What do you think you like about this? So you can really get really detailed. And actually a lot of the times we listen to the customer focus group that's inside that Facebook, and that's how we create a lot of our judgments. But the main thing we also base it on is how many people are placing a deposit, how many people are adding to basket, and so working out that whole funnel. And we have certain metrics that we look at to understand whether a project is going to do over 100,000 or not. Some projects will only do, if you spend $1, you're going to get $2 back, which might not be a good ROI for every project, especially if a lot of the manufacturing cost is a really heavy fold, right?
Got it. That makes total sense. So sorry, now go back to your that process. So what happens after that validation step?
So after that validation step, so in the first month, we spend maybe around $3,000 to test out whether this product is good or not, test out the different metrics. Once the product has been approved, our process, and we look at it, then it moves on to the second step. The second step, we're spending maybe something like $8,000. It's literally broken down into a 3-month launch phase, right? So the first month you're validating, second phase you're growing, and third phase you're growing as well. And then the fourth month is a launch. So in them 2 months, you're spending 8,000. In total, you're looking to spend around 20,000 in just building up that email list. So you should have, after the 3 months, somewhere around 10,000 emails. And if you're looking at a conversion rate of about 5% and your product value is around $99, then on day one, you're looking to raise maybe around 50,000 when you launch to market. So that's really how the maths is really worked out. But for campaigns that do around 50,000 on day one, they usually end up raising 100,000 by the end of the week. Once you raise 100,000, you'd spend maybe another 20,000. This would get you to somewhere like $250,000. You'd spend another 20,000, and this would get you to 600,000 plus. So it's an exponential growth curve, right? Initially, you've got a pool of audience that may see you, but they may not sign up, or they may not want to buy. But the more and more people that you sort of target with ads and that keep seeing your product, they will end up buying. On average, it takes, about 3 to 6 times before someone actually buys a product, especially if it's more expensive.
Now, in terms of taking a lot of these items and moving it now back to simple marketing practices that people may be utilizing, whether that is taking a peek at a product that they have, or a coaching service that they have, or just some other service that they might offer, what concepts of that same crowdfunding campaign can you utilize or extrapolate out to any marketing facet?
Yeah, so this is a question I get a lot. Crowdfunding is just like, so we say crowdfunding, but to be honest, Elon Musk did a crowdfunding campaign, right? If you think about the van that he created, where he threw a brick or whatever at the window, and the
window broke.
Yeah, that was a whole crowdfunding campaign. He said, look, guys, you can place a deposit for your product and you will get it in 3 years' time, right? So he literally, and I think he generated like 180,000 orders within the first 24 hours. It was something crazy like that. So a lot of people get confused, but in essence, what we do is literally product launch strategies, right? we focus on physical products, but the same thing can be done for a book project. It can be done for a course. It can be done for anything. It can be done for a podcast. All you're doing is literally building up a community that is going to end up buying your product when it comes down to it. You could do the same thing on Amazon. You could build up a launch for a book in advance and get everyone to buy a book. That's the same thing I did with one of my book launches. I
So
was out.
let's dive into that a little
Yeah.
bit more, Samit. Let's choose that example let's take that for an example, because I know we've got at least of our listeners, I know we have at least 100 that are, because again, just different emails that I get all the time talking about different things. I know we've got at least 100 listeners out there that are either currently writing a book, have just finished their book, or are within the launch of their book over the last month. And so let's kind of use that example as to, okay, if you've written a book, what does that process look like to really make it a successful launch?
Yeah, to make it a successful launch, what people are trying to do is trying to get on that bestseller list on the first day. So the way to do that is literally build up a list or build up a community that's going to be buying your product on day one. So what I did for a couple of my book launches, I literally got up on stage in front of 1,000 people and said, "Hey guys, today my book's going live, and if you download it, I'm going to give you a free gift." So that literally got me a ton of sales on day one and got me to the Amazon bestseller list for business. Then I took a screenshot of that. I then sent out an email to my email list and said, "Hey guys, obviously I did a warm-up campaign to my email list as well, saying that I'm launching this book." But when we went live, I also shared out that screenshot, and that got me even more sales. So in essence, this is something that I preach a lot, right? I say always think marketing first and product second. A lot of people tend to get into that book writing without actually thinking about who's going to be buying this book. So you need to be thinking, okay, how can I market this book first? A lot of people, what they do, and this is another tactic that you can do as well. If you've got a whole list of friends, funnel them into a Facebook group. Then through that Facebook group, what you want to tell them is, look, you're launching a new book, and you want to get them involved in each of the process. So when you create a book title, so go guys, these are the book titles I've got. Would you guys like to vote for it? And then people would vote for it. Then you can also do like your book cover. So, hey guys, these are the different types of book covers I've created. What one do you think is going to be interesting? All right, cool. If it's a marketing book, for example, okay guys, what is the biggest thing that is your pain point in marketing and that you would like addressed in this book? And then people will start commenting around it. So all of these people that you funneled into your Facebook group feel like that part of the design process. And then they'll naturally feel like, okay, you know what, when this product goes live, they want to show like they supported this project as well. And that's what we see a lot. And also, if you add another element to it, which is getting on your phone, creating a video of yourself going, "Hey, my name's Samit. I've created this amazing book. I'd love for you guys to provide your feedback." And people build up a trust factor with you as well. People feel like they know you, even though they don't know you. And this is what we've seen happen a lot. Once you start driving ads onto, your book creation or whoever you are as a person, and then pushing people into a Facebook group, and then you start doing live videos, people know who you are even without really knowing who you are. Like even on my Instagram, for example, I post a lot of different videos and people message me every day like they actually know me, because they're like, "Hey, I watch your videos a lot and I love that you got a dog." And I'm like, okay, how does this person know that I've got a dog? Oh, it's because I had a video. So you're building up a connection to the people. And if for those people that are looking to launch that book, always think marketing first, always build a list of people first. Think about who you can target, think how you can turn your friends or family into actual people that participate in this. The amount of times we've launched products and people say, "Hey, we've got hundreds of friends and family," and then when they launch, like one or two people end up backing the project or supporting them. But this way you can turn it around. You can make it feel like they're actively involved in the process.
And that's so smart. You said a couple things that really stood out to me, and so often we hear people utilizing social media to really enhance their reach or enhance their growth share. But that list that you're talking about, that's really the only thing at the end of the day that we own. That's really the only thing that we have control of: who sees what the reach is, what they end up seeing, and the timing at which they see it. And so the way in which you build that list and the authenticity of which you build that list, the quality of that list, will also determine the quality of the results that you're getting at the end of the day, from that product launch, be it a book, be it a course, be it a program, be it a service, or even a hard product itself. And so I think that's the key thing that you keep coming back to is the creation of that list, and using social media to enhance that creation of that list and the formation of that relationship building between yourself. Would you kind of agree to that?
Yeah, exactly. Build a list first, build the product second, right? Like build that. That's in essence what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Now, Samit, what have you seen over the course of your time in social media and the using of it for marketing? Because there's been countless people who have sent us messages saying, the marketing world has just become so convoluted in a lot of ways, where they've gone to 5 different agencies promising great results, promising increase in sales, increase in followers, increase in their email list, but yet the results don't show for it at the end of the day. So if you were to go and have two different avenues, one, do it yourself, what would your steps be to really start to do something? And if you were to go hire somebody such as yourself, what would the steps be, or the series of steps to figure out what's a good one to go with?
Yeah, so I think this is a problem that does occur, and at the end of the day, it is down to the product. The product is literally, I'd say, 70% responsible for how people respond to it. And this is the reason why we brought in the validation testing in the first place. We were running the agency for about 3 years, and like products were getting success, but not to the level that we wanted them to get success. So we're thinking to ourselves, okay, how can we get even better results for our clients? And it was literally this validation process. We became much more strict on who we actually brought on. So it was a case of, okay, what is your product? What is the USP? What separates this out? Are you aware of what other projects have raised in the market? Are you aware of the barriers to entry that you have, right? A lot of the times people will create a product, and this was something I did very early on. I wouldn't have researched my competitors. I wouldn't have researched everything around me. I wouldn't have understood, like, what is the market I'm trying to enter. I would just be the type of guy that loves jumping into the unknown, right? And that's another reason why I failed so many times. So, as a creator, you've got to understand all of these things. You've got to understand your environment that you're entering. You've got to then have the right mindset. If you truly believe that your product is a game changer, and you think that this is going to change the world, or that this is going to make money, then you got to believe it with your whole 100%, your mind and everything behind it. The other thing is, so once we've got them two things right, then it's a case of validating the idea. So running a test through it, because even then, sometimes I've had clients that come to me with a great idea, and I'm like, this is a great idea. Oh, wow, this is going to raise millions. And then it only ends up raising 100,000. So then I'm like, crap, So sometimes you can get too much into your idea that you sort of forget about what is the actual thing that's going to happen. And this is where the validation test comes in. And for those people in the audience, you can set up a very simple validation test. It doesn't have to be as detailed as what I mentioned. Create the landing page, add in a deposit structure where people pay maybe $7 to lock in that product, and start running ads towards it. And you'll be able to see very quickly whether people say, oh, this is shit in the comments, or this is amazing if they say that. Or, if people place a deposit, then again, you'll be able to see this. So yeah, these are some things I would say to people. There is always a risk, right? Like, as an agency owner, there's always a risk. Like, we try our hardest to put in systems in place, processes in place to try and avoid these type of results, because at the end of the day, our reputation is on the line. But we actively tell clients when we're onboarding them, look, there is a risk to this. And if a client tells us, look, we want to raise $1 million, we'll tell them, look, it's very unlikely that you're going to make $1 million on the back end of what you're trying to do here. You've also got to be very you've got to understand what you're trying. Like, we've had people that said, look, our marketing budget is like 5,000 and we want to raise $1 million. Like, I don't know where you're going to get that type of return, right?
I love
Like,
that you said that, Samit, because how many times have you heard people say that?
I think probably around every single day, we probably get about 20, 30 inquiries, and probably about 3/4 of them is that same thing.
And it doesn't surprise me, because that everybody on social media, every ad that you see is, there's more millionaires happening now over COVID because of everyone shopping online, and it's easier to become a millionaire now. And it's creating this unrealistic set of expectations of
Mhm.
what it requires to get there. And you think that, oh, I'm going to throw 2,500, 5 grand, 10 grand into ads, and all of a sudden you're going to get that 4 to 20x give back just because you put out something. And I love the process you're taking people through, because it's all about validation. It's all about, what does your market say, and reading off of that. And unfortunately, I mean, early in my career, that's a mistake I made. Was I had the best idea, I had the passion for what it was, I had a system, it worked, and created a whole course. And I think after everything was said and done, I think I broke even on it. And
Yeah.
it
I think, yeah, we get emotionally attached to our ideas very quickly, and this is something that I've learned. I'll give you a quick example of something that I did last quarter, right? I created, so I had this amazing idea. I thought it was going to be the next $1 million idea. It was creating a UV self-cleaning carry case for your masks, because the problem I saw was people would wear a mask and then they would stuff it into their pockets or wherever. So I thought, okay, let's create a case, and let's add some UV sanitization to that. I did go to some product development companies. They quoted me 20, 30,000. And I was like, okay, how can I do this in the leanest way possible and validate this idea? So what I did was I went onto Amazon, looked for some carry cases that I really liked the design of it, and would think it's very similar to what I would end up designing. I bought that for probably around $20, $30. And then I bought some LED lights. I literally stuck these LED lights inside this carry case, took some really nice Instagram mobile pictures, created the landing page, and started running ads to it to test out whether it would work. So that was all done for less than $500. Out of that $500, I was able to tell whether that product was going to raise money or not. It was going to make some money, but it wasn't going to be the millions. So that was a very quick test. And this is something that I now literally have hundreds of people begging me to teach them how to do this. And I'm like, just think of it as very lean. And the reason I did that was because I hang around with a lot of tech people, and they're all about MVPs. When they're creating software, they create minimal viable products, which is like a wireframe of what it would look like. But I would say, go a step even further. Why do you even need to go and create it? Just create a landing page, say what it's going to actually be, and see whether people are going to be interested in it.
That's a brilliant idea. And guys, something that everybody listening to, whether it's a product, whether it's a coaching service, whether it's a service in and of itself, or a book, whatever it is, create that landing page, create that end result that you see in your mind, and see if there's interest in it. I mean, Samit, can you talk a little bit about, okay, you've created the landing page, you've started to run traffic to it. If you don't know how to run traffic to it, where would you start?
I would start with the interests. So I would use Facebook advertising. Like, well, actually, even before that, I would run. I would try and get traffic, organic traffic, to see whether this is something worth even putting money into. So for anyone out there, you can go onto a lot of these Facebook groups. So there was tons of groups around COVID and masks and things like that, and I could have very easily gone into these groups anytime someone started asking questions around COVID or masks. I could go in and add some authority to that or answer people's questions. People would naturally come and look at my bio on Facebook. I'd make sure I have a really good thumbnail image that explains, I'm creating this brand new UV self-sanitizing mask. Check out my link in my bio. People would click on that and people would go to my landing page. So that's a very simple way, without even spending money, to initially understand what people are thinking. After doing that for about 2 weeks, I would then by that point, I would create friendships with these Facebook group owners. And I would say, look, can I share my post? Can I share my product that I've been creating? And again, it wouldn't be a case of very spammy, hey, I've created this UV sanitizing box. It would be, guys, look, I've been developing this project. I'm in the early phases. What do you guys think? And people always want to be helping, right? But people don't want to be seen like they're going to be sold to. So I would create a post on Facebook and I'd post it to all these hundreds of groups. And I would naturally get people coming back and signing up or telling me it's a shit idea or whether it's a good idea. Based on that, then I would start looking at targeting people with ads.
And it's such a great process, because at the end of the day, you haven't created anything, you haven't spent time doing anything, and you're already validating your idea. You're already understanding, okay, it's going to work or it's not going to work. And then you take the people, your consumer, who ultimately they vote with their wallet. They don't vote with likes or shares or comments. They vote with their wallet. Are they buying it? Are they putting something into it, or are they not? Is it just like, oh, that's a cool thing, high five, way to go? Or is it actually like, this is something I want to purchase? And yeah. I think something that one of our past guests had talked about in kind of creating this stuff, and it kind of seems what you were talking about as well, is as soon as you have this idea, there's really no unique ideas ever. It's somebody's idea that is then moved into something else or formulated off of another aspect. And going on to Amazon or going on to any other website, e-commerce website where you can purchase things and leave reviews, read the reviews, because the reviews will literally give you the information as to what products people like, what they don't like about those products, and then how to maneuver them or make them better to thus alleviate those negative reviews that were there. And that becomes your product. That's literally the way in which you build something of quality.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so the more that you're able to validate what you're doing, making sure that the time spent is there, and then you make sure, hey, then you put the time in to build it. Then you put the investment in, so that what you are investing in, it's going to ultimately be successful for you and pay back at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If you were to give one form of advice to people who are looking at creating their product or creating their service or creating their book, and the biggest thing that you've learned from your trip through this marketing world, what would that be?
Literally marketing first, product second, right? This is the one thing I would stick to, and it's something that I've seen save people countless money, countless time, countless everything. And it's something that is built on my experience of failing at multiple businesses. I did a deep analysis of why I failed at so many businesses, and I looked at every single reason, and the biggest reason was I didn't do the marketing first. I thought product first.
I love it. And even the fact that you're sitting there saying that you failed, and that there were multiple things that didn't work for you. I mean, that right there goes back to the comment that was made earlier about I'm going to invest 5,000, I'm going to get $1 million, is people think it happens fast. People think it happens quick. People think that that everybody can do it. But if everybody could do it, it wouldn't be special. And
Exactly.
that is, I think that's so admirable, Samit, is truly knowing your journey, where you failed. You've always failed forward. John Romanello was on with us and talked about his writing of his 3 New York Times bestsellers. And he said, I wrote a lot of shit before the good stuff came out. And you're always failing forward. It's not a failure, it's a learning experience. But the only reason it's a learning experience is if you learn. And
I think I just want to add to that. So a lot of people, like they don't do a proper self-reflection. Like a lot of the times I failed and I could have blamed, business partners that cheated me out of things. But instead, if you look at yourself, like, why didn't you check the contract? Like that's the position I've got to. And people look for very quick success when in average, most businesses fail in the first 5 years. So your journey is just starting. I think entrepreneurs, they want to see things very fast. Like they're like, you know what, I want to launch this business and I want to be making sure I'm making money very quickly. And again, it comes back. If you actually build up your community, you can actually fast forward that slow snail pace that you would go through. Like it's a case of spending 20,000 in 3 months or spending 20,000 over the case of 3 years and then failing. Like if that makes sense. So you're it's the same thing that tech businesses are built on, all these big apps. It's like, okay, acquire as many users as possible and then think about monetization, or try and scale as fast as you can, and then if you fail, then you fail. So it's like fail fast is the thing that a lot of these guys talk about.
completely. And I think the other key aspect you talked about was that minimal viable product, that MVP aspect, where fail as fast as you can, but fail smart, where you're not putting in this massive amount of capital up front, and capital doesn't just need to be monetary, it can be time as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Time and energy. And when you're able to do that on the minimal scale and get it out there and get it looking, shaping, speaking, talking exactly what you want it to be, and you start to understand what the give back is, what the win is, then it's an easy decision. It really doesn't become a decision as to what you need to do. It's either you go back to the drawing board and you continue to develop and move it around, or you scrap it and go back to the drawing board and start thinking about something deeper that you can do on a greater level, or listening to the feedback and you got, and then reshaping.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I absolutely love this time that you've given us, to me. There's so much key information and tangible information that you guys can take away and use right away, whether it's launching a product, whether it's a book, whether it's a service, a course, you name it. It's being able to guess and test and use and validate, and then be able to take action from there. So Samit, where can everybody in our audience find you, track you down, connect with you, listen to you, take in your content, or even work with you directly?
Yeah, so you can reach out to me on my website, samitpatel.net, which is my personal website. The agency website is jupio.com, so that's the marketing agency that I have. And then, for anyone that wants to connect with me, check out my Instagram. I post a lot of content on there. I'm also on Twitter, as well as Facebook, and also now on Clubhouse. So check out, I'll provide you the notes for that, and you can add it to the show notes.
Fantastic. Those will all be in the show notes for you guys, and across all platforms, whether it's on YouTube, you'll see it there as well. So however you're taking this in. But the something else I always ask our guests is, because our audience is an audience of action takers. It's an audience that's very fast moving. Is what can our audience do for you?
So I'm looking to connect with more podcasts, obviously, because I'm doing a lot of podcasts while I'm not speaking on stages. So that's something that they can help you do. And again, if you do have an amazing idea and you're looking for a partner in that, I'm not a product designer. So if you are a product designer and you just want a marketing agency or a marketing person that can handle all of that for you, then I'd love to partner up on something like that. Obviously, you would also need some money. It's not just a case of I'd be putting in all the money and you'd be designing. I want it to be an equal partnership. But these are type of the deals that I'm looking at as well.
Fantastic. Guys, you've got your action steps, you've got your marching orders. So either go out, start validating, take that idea, start utilizing the information you get to figure out, are you failing forward or are you succeeding forward? One of those two. Because the moment you validate, the moment you can decide where you put your time and energy. And at the end of the day, that's really all we have. And you hear me talk about it all the time is if you can maximize your time, maximize your energy and put it in the direction that truly matters and something that is going to work based off all of Samit's quick, easy, tangible takeaways, you're going to succeed in the long run, and it's going to save you time, money, and energy. So with that, guys, stay hungry, stay humble, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Awesome, my man. I appreciate you.